All right, a day after, April the 9th. I said I was going to come on last week, the 1st. I would come on after the eclipse, after the coming, after the Aleph and the Tar, Revelation, the beginning and the end, etc. I was going to come on. TV's too loud. And talk about this stuff that went on yesterday with all of this. You guys hearing this TV, and talk about the debacle of yesterday's continuous flop of prophecy from these people that continue to bring out these subjects of his coming, signs, this, that, and etc. And they've been doing it for centuries, and it ain't going to stop from yesterday. But we still have to call them out. We still have to say something. Still got to put them on warning that, yeah, you can say things. Yeah, you can do them. Yeah, you can just do it and walk away and come back with another flop 5 years from now. 2030 is the next one, I believe, that they already prophesied before 2024. And what are we going to do about it? People are going to sit there and they're going to get on the bandwagon again. They're going to hop on it because they respect the people that are saying it, whoever they may be. The confusionists, the prophecy pundits, it goes on, but no one's going to stop talking about these things because someone comes up like myself and many others that may say something. They're not going to stop. They just don't stop. They just continue to bleed the anxiety, the stress, the false prophet teaching, and they get away with it. They walk into the sunset. Speaking of sunset, and the sunset and etc. No accountability to their words with prophecy. It's really so sad at this point. It's not even. I wasn't gonna even do this YouTube. I might not even upload this thing. I don't even know why I'm talking, because it's just so boring at this point in the state. A waste of my wind, oxygen. But they need for the laity, you folks that follow these people. I don't care if they're a Christian preacher. I don't care if they're Hebrews like Moray. I won't care if they're a guru or whatever. Don't listen to them no more. No, what do you mean you don't listen to them? No, that's what I mean. That's what I said. Don't listen to them more. They have prophesied about things that they thought was going to happen yesterday because of some signs. I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone yesterday, and they used Exodus or Shamut chapter 4 verse 8, trying to put that with the 4th day of April. The 8th day of April, the 4th month. Talking about Exodus chapter 4, when he gave two signs unto Moshe for the people. And they took the latter sign in Exodus chapter 9, and used that for the latter sign. And it doesn't say signs or latter sign. And that Exodus chapter 4, verse 8 and 9 has nothing to do with no coming, no parasura, no presence, no disgeneration, no nothing to do with the first century parasua per se, coming, presence, not a physical body coming in the sky. It's just unfortunate. Now, I'm going to do this little YouTube, but I may come back. I may come back with this other stuff that I have prepared. I don't know. Luke 21, Matthew 24, Mark 13. I may read the whole entire chapter of Luke 21. Then pull out some notes that I had on the subject of apocalyptic language to show you folks in the Old Testament where these particular language was used throughout the Hebraic prophecy guys, Isaiah, Nahum, certain prophets spoke things that's in the New Testament that unfortunately you people have been sold a bill of goods, thinking that when you read it in Matthew 24 or you read it in 2 Kepha 3, it's all literal, and it's just really botched, from Christian church fake father stuff to whatever. But nobody, I haven't heard none of these people break down the Old Testament and show that this language that's used Hebraic wise is not literal when it's using the magnitude of heaven and earth, stars, moon, constellation, darkness, blah, blah, blah. It's not literal when he's judgment language on nations, as well as Yasharel. It's not the end of the world, end of the planet, end of time as we know it, not end times. And no one in the New Testament, no one, including Yahusha, including the apostles, no one changed the language of the Old Testament, which they knew in all those prophecy, in the world didn't end when they judged the nations of old. None of the earth is still here. And the same language is in all over Isaiah, all over the place. But what can we do? We just sit there like somebody drugged somebody. Like y'all got drugged or something. It's remarkable. But there's help on the way. It's called study. It's called don't listen to these folks no more. It's called enough is enough already with the nonsense. But they won't stop. They're going to keep going. They're going to probably have something already making excuses. They got the YouTubes up already. They'll probably do it, what's today, Tuesday? They'll probably do it by Saturday. Oh, no, that was a sign. That's the beginning of the signs. That's this and this and that. And this should have been this, but that didn't. This is going to be. It's like, yo, I never hear no scripture in the Old Testament doing this nonsense. None. Saying this, well, it could have been, it should have been, it might have been. Now, these 101 time statements I got up here. From Dennis Green, I believe back in the days, did this. This is no joke compared to the nonsense that we hear in prophetic language. I told a friend of mine on the phone, you cats who let's see, I'm wearing my t-shirt, they all flopping on me. You cats who listen to these mores break down genealogy, and these guys who break down the Atlantic slave trade and, scattered into the four corners in Deuteronomy 28. And, they got this stuff down packed. But when it comes to prophecy, this is a totally different topic. You don't let them slide. I don't care who they are. I don't care how much you respect them, for you Hebrew Israelite laity. I don't care how much you like them. You don't have to hate them neither. But on the same token, when it comes to prophecy and they put their mouth out there and they say something and they make a mistake or whatever it may be, or they ain't going to say it's a mistake. Well, that's the way they see it. Yeah, but that ain't the way the scripture sees it. I don't care about that's the way they see it. The scripture don't see it the way they see it. Because nothing happened. I'm not saying everybody prophesied a lie on yesterday saying that this was going to be his coming. It's just horrible for me. Because for 27 years I've been battling this concept of the second time. Not second coming. Physical versus allegory or figurative speech in prophecy. Symbolic versus literal, hyper-literalism from Christians, mainly from Christians. But the Hebrew Israelite cats, your eschatology, I've said it 7,000 million times, is the same exact as the people who you call Christians and that you do, with the religion. You got the same eschatology, land promises of the kahunas. You worship dirt. What is wrong with you people with this dirt stuff? You're trying to relive the Old Testament, reading Ezekiel, reading Jeremiah, trying to quote Isaiah, just botching up this stuff over and over and over with no help in sight because you awoke. You awoke. You asleep. You asleep. When it comes to prophecy, you asleep. You're not awoke. Because your gurus, your officers, your mores are teaching you the same thing that they learned when they used to be a Christian. And now they're Hebrew Israelite. And now they're teaching the same prophetic stuff that they were taught and learned through a Christian pastor, teacher, evangelist, TV, whatever. And now they were teaching Moreh, teaching about Hebrew Israelite. And they got you, they're going to lead you to the same old silliness that they heard when they was a Christian in eschatology. Ambiguous speech from Yahushua's mouth, from Kepha's mouth, from the other apostles, not rightly dividing the scriptures from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Last days is connected to the time of the end. Not some last days of the planet. Not some end times of the earth as we know it. Botching, I mean complete botching 2 Peter. Matthew 24, Luke 21. These are the ones I heard the last couple of weeks. They were reading Luke 21. John Hagee got on there with his, let me not say that, got on the TV the other day talking about the rapture and this stuff, and you can't follow every person that's quoted and said something about this. But then maybe some of you people are catching on, because it could have been a lot more people prophesying a lie, but they wasn't. So to make a long story short, that's good. That's good in a sense. But you can't follow all of them. You can't keep up with all of them. But just the ones that keep going for this gullibleness is off the charts. When somebody stand up and do a YouTube, help me out. Do a YouTube and say, you know what? I watched this dude and he told me this stuff, man. I'm gonna put my own YouTube up there. I'm calling out you false prophets. You false teachers. It's just remarkable how it continues to go on. I don't even really have to read Luke 21. I don't really have to show all this. It's time statements. It's just like, what is it? What use of it? Why should I do it? Who's going to really say, you know what? I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to completely go against the grain no matter what I call myself, no matter how much I want to be a Christian, how much I want to be a Hebrew Israelite. I'm going against the teaching I heard and taught since my youth in the cradle. I'm going against it. Because it's contradicting inspired text, it's contradicting scripture, it's contradicting Yahushua, it's contradicting the Old Testament, it's contradicting inspiration, it's ambiguous, it's false, and I'm going to stick with all of this stuff that is contradicted. I'm going to stick with it because I want to have people pat me in the back saying, yeah. Really? But people do it. They have a respected person. They want to be patted on the back by men, women. They want to be told. They don't want to be yelled at. They don't want to be called names. I don't want to be called names. Who wants to be called names? Nobody wants to be called names. That's not a nice thing. But for the truth, you just may have to be called a name. You may have to, at least you ain't getting the bones broken. I mean, but good gracious. My shirt is flopping just like the Jets. The Jets t-shirt is flopping. Somebody gonna say, fix your t-shirt. Listen. Anyway, we have to hold these people accountable for yesterday. They have to be held accountable. I told 2-3 people yesterday, we're talking all day. I don't want to mention their names. I don't know. But it's for me, for 27 years, it's nothing new for me to hear the flop a lie, the scapegoatism, the maybe-ism, the not really, but might be, but for me, for 27 years, is nothing new. And y'all who've been hearing this stuff, y'all take it in stride. You're used to all of this stuff anyway. You know, y'all got all the other past event stuff. The next one is 2030. That's the next so-called calendar event that's supposed to be prophesied that something's going to happen 2030, 6 years from now. Y'all going to get excited again. Y'all might be around for the next eclipse. That's 20 years, depending on how old you are. Some of us ain't going to be here. Some people ain't going to be here. So if you didn't get that little eclipse yesterday, you're done. You're cooked. Now, the problem is the inspired text for me. It's the inspired text. And as I said on my other YouTubes, the world, the people in the world who were looking up yesterday with the glasses on, they were all excited. They were all talking about how great it was. They're not going to come to you, teachers and preachers and Hebrew Israelites and people on YouTube that was running y'all miles for a week and 2 weeks and all over the place. They're not going to come to you. They're not even talking about it. I ain't heard nobody in the news yesterday talking about his second coming. This has got to do with the world. They ain't say nothing about that. It was just the people in the Bible who want something to happen so bad. With their false theology when it comes to eschatology. They false teaching. They sitting out there running and saying things and then putting Yahuwah. Boy. And then but they got the escapism. It could have been, it should have been, it might have been, but I didn't say it was, but it might be, but I don't want to say too much because then if it doesn't, what kind of prophecy is this? What kind of language of prophecy is this? We know what it is. So you can stay held, you don't have to be held accountable. But if you would give in to fulfillment, give in, that's what you're going to have to do. Take that pride out. That pride of, whoa, what makes you right? I didn't say I'm right. But this stuff here is totally twisted. Yeah, I think I'm right, of course. I didn't say I'm right. I said, of course you think you're right. But this fake fulfillment, unfulfillment, 2024 years with this 2 Peter, as a day is 1,000, as a year as 1,000. It's so embarrassing. But you quote it like it's some kind of code, like it's some kind of mystical code. A day is 1,000 years as a day to God. Maybe to God, not to Yahuwah. But what can we do? What can we do? We got to sit up there and listen to y'all. I ain't got to listen to you, but I hear it. So somebody's got to say something. Somebody's going to catch on and say, you know what? That's it. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I don't care how much I know about this, how much I know about that, how much they say about this, how much they say about that. But you can talk about the Torah, you can talk about the law, you can talk about feast days, you can talk about the Passah, you can talk about this, you can talk about that. But when you get out there and mess up with that prophecy stuff, that's a little different. A little different. Teaching about history or teaching where you see something about this and teaching about something about that, that's one thing. But prophecy is a whole nother ball game. A whole nother ball game. Because Yahushua had no maybes. He had no ambiguous speech. The apostle didn't say, well, it might be, well, it could be. Well, if this doesn't happen, verse 34, verse 35 is separated from verse 36 in Matthew 24 by 2,000 years. And then you got a gap theory. Matthew 24, 35, 30, 36, got a gap theory. Then we got these other people talking about it's a coming in judgment, but not the coming, but a coming in judgment. There's nowhere in scripture that it says is a coming in judgment. Nowhere. Meaning up to certain verses are coming in judgment. Then after that, then whenever there's going to be the literal coming, this man in the cloud. The day of Yahuwah in the Old Testament was never a physical form of his physical form coming on the clouds, number one. Yahushua said, as I see my Father judge, I shall judge. So when he came and showed his presence, his parasura, to who was he coming to judge is the key matter, not the world, in the sense of physical destruction. He was coming to judge Jerusalem. Matthew 23, before you read Matthew 24. Read Luke 19. It tells you Luke 19, verses 41 to 44. Then you go to Matthew 21 to 24. Then you read Mark 13, the whole entire chapter. Then you read Luke 17. Then you read 2 Peter 3. Then you just keep going. And they all connect. They all connect. Then you go to Revelation, the great city, not New York City. Not some city in London or somewhere. All of this stuff connects. The whore. Oh gosh, it's not talking about no Catholic church. Ezekiel 16 goes with Revelation. The whore, Babylon, is reminded in the book of Isaiah when he judged Babylon. That's why he brings up in Revelations Babylon, because the mystery Babylon. He's talking about Jerusalem. Not talking about no Roman Catholic Church. Not talking about Rome. Twisted. I mean, this messed up, confused stuff. That's why this stuff is not connected. The beloved city. What beloved city is he talking about in the Revelations? Well, he's talking about the Catholic Church. The beloved city, Ezekiel 16 has nothing to do with the Catholic Church. Has nothing to do with Rome. Has nothing to do with the some guys are trying to teach the Muslim people, the Khalis or whatever they call. Has nothing to do with that in Ezekiel 16. They were fornicating, adultery as a people, as a city, as a people. He calls them out. The most called out, her fornication, her desolate, her the cities fornicated with, her scarlet, her talking about Jerusalem. So when you get to apocalyptic language twisted and mixed up and confused, but so much hyperliteralism in them, you can't see it. You won't. That ain't saying I'm the only one who see it. Oh gosh, how do you think you is? The point is, you can't see it because you've been hermeneutic, this Greek nonsense. You've been beat down so bad from church prophecy, including you Hebrew Israelites. You guys, I don't understand you guys, man. You guys just talk all this Hebrew stuff and this Israelite stuff, but you can't understand prophetic language from the Hebraic perspective because your awoken identity stuff that you're trying to drag and and relive eschatology again. And that's across the board for all of y'all. All of y'all. Not one of you all teach the same thing in eschatology. You got dirt, and more dirt. Got more temple, third temple, dirt. Worship dirt. You ain't going back to no dirt. Go read the Hebrews 11:16. The original Hebrews were not looking for no doggone dirt. Going back to Israel. They was already in Israel. Hebrews 11:16. Wasn't going back to no doggone Israel. That's why y'all keep the focus on them people living in Israel so much. Because you got the same mindset. You want to go back to the dirt. You want to go back to the land. The land. Oh my gosh, man. No spiritual, nothing. Just physical. It's sad, man. But here we go. I said I wasn't going to talk that long. It's already 23 minutes. But I did say I was going to come back the following week. I ain't going off like I really wanted to go off on it after talking with my friend, my man Neil, the real deal, yesterday, who happened to be a Hebrew Israelite cat. And I give Neil props. He's on the phone with me yesterday when all this was going down. He didn't duck and hide. I told him on the phone. He didn't dip and weave. He didn't do the Ali shuffle, the bop and weave on me. Couldn't contact him. I give Neil credit. And he's a Hebrew Israelite cat. He ain't part of no camp. I don't know if he want me to mention his name, but the point of the matter is, I give him props. He didn't duck and bop and weave. He took it. And I ain't jump on him. My man Neil. I ain't jump on him. I just said, Neil, this is stuff that you can hopefully change you around. And look at these people. Say, yo, nah, no more. You ain't doing it for me, number one. Ain't nobody doing nothing for me. You're doing it for the truth.